What's going on, guys? Zach back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Now, this is not necessarily going to be a full-fledged review or a full-fledged summary of the book, just a few key takeaways that I found really valuable and I think that you guys might really benefit from if I share them with you. Now, before I get started, I just want to let you guys know that I do offer one-on-one coaching, and I do have links below that you can sign up with me, get yourself a free consultation, and we can chat about your personal issues and how you can overcome them. So to start out, the main point that I want to just give you guys right off the bat is that anything you impress on your subconscious mind will be reflected in the screen of space. Joseph talks about how there are these hypnosis experiments where people will be sat down and they'll be convinced that they can and cannot do certain things, right? They'll have world elite level strength athletes or, football players, powerlifters, whatever it is. They'll have these people, sit down, get into this hypnotic state, and they'll convince them that they can't even lift something like a pencil off a table, right? They'll convince them that they're so weak, their muscles are so pathetically weak that they literally can't do something like lift a pencil off the ground. Or in another sense, something a little bit more intense, they will have a person get into the hypnotic state, they'll draw on their arm a pattern, and they'll convince them that they are going to bleed from this pattern. Now, the book starts out with a lot of different hypnosis examples like this, little examples about how people can be impressed and have physiological responses in the moment, right? Eyes dilute, nosebleed, physical muscle pains, things like this, things that we know, that we have seen, and it just helps to warm up the audience to the fact that the subconscious mind really can impress your entire body with physiological responses. Beyond that, we've seen examples where people are impressed to, change personalities. They'll think that they're a duck, they'll think that they're a dog, they'll think that they're a baby, something like this, that when we shut down the conscious mind, the subconscious mind can be impressed with things. And this is how he starts off the book, just to let us know that we really do have an extremely powerful subconscious mind, whether we believe in the esoteric, energy factors of, impressing the universal mind with our desires or not. It is important to recognize that we have a conscious mind that is guarding our thoughts, our feelings, and really protecting us from what we consider to be unrealistic. And so when we want to impress the subconscious mind, the first factor that we have to think about is this conscious mind, this guardian at the gate. Now, from my own research and my own experience, I don't necessarily think that the conscious mind is always something that you have to, push to the side and really try to suppress. However, it's important to recognize that it does have this guardian power. And so when you're trying to impress your subconscious mind, you have to consider that your conscious mind has to be in line with whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So either that's it being quiet, it being, shut down, or it has to be convinced and allowed to, participate in whatever it is that you're trying to impress. I've found that throughout my journey, I've had to do less and less of quieting my conscious mind, and instead I do more and more of aligning my conscious mind with my subconscious desires, or the desires, like I'm saying, that I have to impress on my subconscious mind. And quite simply, I do this by removing limiting beliefs. If you want specific guided instructional on how you can remove limiting beliefs, that's something that I offer in my one-on-one coaching, but I'll give you a pretty simple synopsis right now. In order to remove a limiting belief, you simply go in and overwrite it with a new belief, and there's a million and one ways to do this. With deeper trauma, we do things like shadow work. We go back into these old memories and associate new feelings and participate in new actions in those memories. But for simpler things like, something you're trying to consciously create where there's not a lot of subconscious resistance from your past and your childhood specifically, you can simply use a new belief to overwrite that. Again, when your conscious mind is aligned and you are able to leverage your conscious mind to help you, it can actually be extremely beneficial, because you can use things like affirmations or conscious visualizations where you don't have to necessarily push yourself all the way into the state akin to sleep, as Neville Goddard calls it. You can use your conscious mind just to help you recycle these ideas over and over and over again, and simply consciously push these limiting beliefs out and say, no, I'm focused on this end result. I know that this is possible, and I'm going to allow myself fully consciously to be here in this end result. And really, that's what impressing the subconscious mind and then seeing it reflected on the screen of space means, is that whatever it is that the belief is that you're trying to, see manifested, the materialized thing that you're trying to see, whether that's a personality trait, an action, a situation, or an object of some kind, whatever it is, all you have to do is really take this time and impress onto your mind the reality of that thing happening. This is something that every teacher in this space is going to talk about. Visualization is something that everybody's going to say is important. They might say it in their own way. They might say, hey, visualization itself is not necessarily the factor that you have to engage with, but you'll find that things like affirmations, things like scripting, all of this, whether you want to or not, is going to bring up a mental picture of what it is that you're trying to create. And so the book is really talking about how feeling into that and really just believing that is the most important factor. Later in the book, Joseph moves away from things like medical issues, right? He talks a lot about medical issues and how people are able to use this affirmation sequence of believing that, hey, the infinite intelligence of the universe can find a way. It created you physically, thereby it can fix you physically. It can find the solution to whatever physical ailment that you have. And all you have to do is really just impress that concept on your subconscious mind. But he moves on throughout the book to talk about pretty much anything and how it is just the same exact factor. Everything is just energy. Everything is just frequency. Everything is just vibration. And so by finding that vibration that you want to align with, you're going to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. This is the foundational topic of the book. I keep trying to think of other really important aspects to bring up in this book, and really I'm going to bring up some modalities that he uses to actually do visualizations and actually do affirmations. But really the bottom line, you guys, is that whatever you impress on the subconscious mind will be impressed on the screen of space. And so be conscious of what it is that you're thinking about. Be conscious of what it is that you're creating, and stop focusing on your issues. Stop focusing on the blockages and allow yourself to feel into the solutions, because those will be impressed as well. Neville Goddard basically says that you don't have to live in the end constantly. You don't have to always put yourself in this end result, but what really matters is, can you operate in the feeling of the wish fulfilled? And all you have to do is operate 51% in that feeling of the wish fulfilled, and things will start to snowball in your direction, right? You only have two directions that you can go. You can have the negative disempowering direction or the positive empowering direction. And all you have to do is continuously bring your perception back to this place of focusing on the positive, empowering feeling, direction, visualization of what it is that you want to create. Abraham Hicks talks about this a lot, and I think, you know, for all of my woes with Abraham Hicks, the foundational concept of where your attention goes, energy flows is gold, right? Like, we're all trying to, especially when we first get into this manifestation stuff, this conscious creating stuff, right? We're trying to focus so much energy on just staying positive, right? We're like, oh my God, I can't think negatively. But all we have to remember is that everything is optimization data, and everything is data that is just showing us where we are right now. And it's teaching us that, hey, all you really want is to focus on this thing that you want. And you can go general with that. You can, you know, if it's like a specific person, if it's love, you know, you're trying to get back with an ex, that's super common in this space, right? All you have to do is focus on love. Don't stress yourself out because you're trying to feel good, but you're not feeling good about some things, and you're struggling with this old history, but you just want to, you know, believe that it's going to happen, right? A lot of this stuff can create a lot of tension. And so what we have to remember is, all we're trying to do is operate in a feeling. And if we can break down the feeling to something really simple, like love, right? Like wealth, right? Like abundance. This is something that Joseph talks about in the book, that we should not stress ourselves out with super complex affirmations and super complex visualizations, because what that can do is fundamentally bring in all of this disempowering information, this feeling of struggle, this feeling of tension, right, between the two directions that you're trying to go in. Sometimes, you guys, pushing aside the classic law of attraction community teaching is really important, because there's some stuff in there that can be extremely negligent. And I know people are not going to want to hear this, but some of that stuff is extremely negligent of the process that naturally unfolds. And remember, all of this stuff, when we learn about conscious creating, a lot of the time, at first at least, we start to hijack ourselves because we forget nature is what brought us this stuff, right? Nobody invented these things. Neville Goddard is not God. Joseph Murphy is not God. God, in its fundamental form of the energy that permeates everything, existed before somebody pointed it out. And so all of these things, manifestation has been occurring naturally throughout your life up until this point. And so don't make it a point to reject the natural flow of things. I think a lot of people, what they want to do is reject the natural flow of the universe. And really, that's just you expressing your energy in the way that it needs to be expressed. So if you need to be angry, be angry. If you need to mourn, mourn. If you need to have a moment of freak out. But remember that as long as you are conscious of how creation occurs, which is in the state of feeling, you'll realize that you can always come back and align with what it is that you want. It is never too late. It is never, you're never going to get to the point where something is just so far gone. It's only if you've decided that. And so sometimes what you need to do is really feel into these emotions that you've been putting off and just allow them to flow out of you. Allow that despair, that disempowerment to fill you up and flow out of you, because sometimes by feeling into it, that's what really helps us release. And fundamentally, when we want to adopt a new feeling that is contrary to where we are right now, we have to release that energy. We have to let it go. And so that's a little bit of a tangent, but Joseph is talking a lot about simplicity in this book, and simplicity of affirmation, simplicity of direction, of achievement, and really allowing the natural flow of the universe to occur, and realizing that just by setting that intention, you're still going to manifest whatever it is that you want, and you might even get there faster by releasing that dark energy. And so just a fact to consider. Beyond that, I'm going to really piggyback on what I just talked about and try to drill in this concept of simplicity. Again, we tend to overcomplicate things, and by overcomplicating things, thinking we need to control everything, we can actually be doing ourselves a disservice. So consider that by simplifying. If you have been struggling, right, to manifest whatever it is, to consciously create whatever it is, maybe if you just simplified it, right, you'd be allowing your subconscious mind to come up with information that will help you to kind of get to that next step, information that will allow you to realize something that you hadn't realized before, come to a new standpoint of understanding, and then move past that and grow. And so if it is money, right, maybe just break it down to wealth, right? Maybe just break it down to abundance. If it's, love, if you're trying to bring somebody back, maybe break it down to forgiveness. That's something to think about, right, guys? Forgiving is not you, letting somebody go scot-free and saying, I'm going to pretend like it didn't happen. I'm going to pretend like they didn't hurt me. It's you saying that I'm no longer holding on to this hot coal that I expect that I'm going to, give to them, and it's going to hurt them, because really by you holding that poison, it's not poisoning them, it's poisoning you. And then beyond that, maybe just love, reaffirm that love, 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 and that's what you will feel. Whatever it is, all we're doing is just trying to align with that feeling of the wish fulfilled. And the more that we stay in alignment, the easier it will get for us to feel that, the closer that we'll get. And it really allows us to let go, right? Because letting go is just trusting. Letting go is just believing that we do have this power, and the intention alone is strong enough. And by riding out through the journey, by letting go of resistance, by rising to new levels, just letting go of those limiting beliefs, we will achieve what we want. And so all of this is just data that is helping us on the journey. So some ways to impress your subconscious mind, well, quite simply, visualization. Joseph talks about this throughout the entire book, that most of what people are achieving comes down to them taking the time to visualize it. Now, he talks about very deliberate visualization of the book. He talks about people lying down, getting into that state akin to sleep, and before bed, they, will say these affirmations of, I know that the subconscious mind has the power to fix my financial woes, and I am bringing about an abundance of money every single day that is helping me to clear my debts and rise to a new level of fulfillment. Something like that, right? That people are impressing on their mind before they go to sleep. But he talks about things like that, like a meditation style where you just lie down in the middle of the day, maybe say something like, the one word, right? The affirmation. But all of these things are just modalities to visualize, and there's no right way to do it. All I would say to you guys is that by being deliberate, right, you can allow yourself to feel into these feelings more. So, for example, it's one thing to sit down and write out what it is that you want to create, but it's a whole other thing to really meditate, close your eyes, take a bunch of deep breaths, take 10 minutes to really relax your body first, and then feel into that state of the wish fulfilled. These things, just by giving yourself more time for that sensory input, it can be more powerful, just because it really impresses your mind more with that end result, and it really allows you to feel into it more. Remember, the feeling is the secret. The feeling is the secret. The visualization itself could be really, really powerful, but if you step out of that visualization, you're not able to maintain that feeling, right? You just bounce right back to your old sets of fears, doubts, and decisions, and you're not trusting this end. That's a big factor. So it really does come down to feeling into that through visualization, affirmation, whatever it is, but then trusting the process. And that's what's going to allow you to let go. I think letting go is such a controversial topic because people are like, do I need to completely forget about it? Do I need to push it out of your mind? Letting go is a natural result of trusting, right? If you buy a ticket to an event, I mean, how much more are you going to be thinking about the process of buying the ticket? You've already bought the ticket. You already know you're going to the event, right? So why would you fear whether you can get tickets or not? You might fear if your friends can get it because they weren't, they weren't as on top of it as you were, but it's not going to stress you out. It's not going to hold you up as, oh, am I going to be able to get into this event? No, you bought your ticket. You already know you're going to get there. You're probably now visualizing yourself, whether you're consciously doing it or not, you're visualizing yourself at that event. So those are probably the main takeaways that I would give you guys. If I could break it down into just two little things, it would be visualize, really feel into it, and then trust. Just allow things to happen, believe that it's going to happen. And as you go through the journey, you will get this optimization data in the form of fears, doubts, and indecisions that will tell you what else that you can do to get closer. Just look at this information that seems disempowering, change that idea of disempowerment to an idea of optimization, that, hey, look, now I have all this information I can reflect on. If something doesn't manifest well, there's a reason behind my actions and my thought patterns that are bringing me to this situation of perceiving things not to work out. They always work out. Everything is perfect in and of itself right now. We are operating in paradise, but it's up to us to look at everything as unconditional love and the information that's helping us to grow and ascend as spiritual beings. So I know this video was a little bit weird. I hope you guys found it valuable regardless. Joseph Murphy is an incredible teacher, one of the two people I think that was instructed by Abdullah. Neville Goddard is the other one, and I highly recommend you check out Neville Goddard as well. But I'm going to be posting more content like this on my YouTube channel, so if you enjoyed this, like this video, subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell so you know my videos come out, and let me know if you have concepts or topics you guys want me to talk about. I would love to make videos that really vibe with you. So without further ado, you guys, I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you later.